In the ever-growing sea of Roblox, most other games don't have much to offer. They follow a pattern that not only barely features enough material for the child audience of Roblox to enjoy, but also easy to reproduce into multiple games of the same identity. This leads to them constantly popping up every now and then on the platform and creating a tough time for players to find games that have an original idea of a good execution. However, with the amount of time that has passed by over the years, the quality of them has decreased so much to the point it's almost impossible to play them without feeling like there is no actual gameplay whatsoever. Hell, it got so bad that literal companies began to emerge for the sole purpose of buying current popular games just to fill them with an unnecessary amount of content that hypnotizes you to purchase. A highly dystopian reality we're living through right now. That leads us to today's topic, Forsaken. Released on 25th December 2024, it instantly catapulted into popularity, quickly becoming one of the fastest growing games in 2025 and managing to land multiple nominations in the awards. It follows the formula of a survival horror game and the one versus all subgenre that takes inspiration from Dead by Daylight and old Roblox. This of course led to people becoming fans of the game and creating media that is based on it, going from art, animations to literally anything that can be used to make Forsaken associated with it. But like everyone knows at this point, we can't have a popular game with nothing bad happening in it, which ended up resulting in spawning drama and people hating on the game's community for doing what they do, making Forsaken the biggest current punching bag on Roblox. Listening to each side argue over the singular game makes it real complicated to understand who's right and who's wrong, and it makes you want to explode. Which got me thinking, does Forsaken really deserve this chaos? In this video, I want to take a look into the Forsaken quote in order to understand what should be the exact perspective for the game and what to deal with in Roblox gaming after it. To find out the answers, I'll go over multiple parts that are tied to the whole topic, all which are essential and important in their own ways. So viewers, I suggest you to prepare for a session that you don't want to miss out on. Get a drink, snack, maybe even an entire meal. Sit back and enjoy the video. But now, let's begin. So how does a normal round of Forsaken work? Well, for starters, there are two teams inside the game, survivors and killers. The number of survivors can go up to 8 players, so there is always a singular killer. The point of the game for both teams is simple. Survivors need to win by trying not to get killed by the killer, and the killer needs to win by killing everyone. Each character in the survivor category has a set of abilities that makes them do various things. Some can actually attack and stun the killer, some can help out the team by healing or setting up traps, and the rest just run. There is also extra stuff located around the map that can get survivors out of bad situations, like medkits, boxicles that give them a speed boost, and generators that slightly reduce the rounds time. As a killer, on the other hand, you're on your own and try to outplay your competitors by breaking this teamwork down to the last survivor and make it out victorious. You're much more powerful, able to spawn minions or teleport to the generators in specific situations, and also get really cool animations when finally getting these cowards. But it's a struggle for both sides, because trying to stick to one of them as your main way of playing the game is impossible due to a system in which the game decides to pick one of the players as the next killer with the highest amount of malice. A form of stats a game by playing the game as a survivor will get it dropped down to 0 after playing as a killer, which is pretty good because it removes the opportunity for culminating a duality between survivor mains and killer mains, kind of. But who really cares about that? Forsaken's simple and effective concept is enough to make a fun session for any player on any side. It's free, has an almost non-existent Robux shop section that's easier to comprehend than in other games, and is very straightforward. Now I know there's going to be a hefty chunk in the auditory that's going to bring up the Forsaken ripped off Dead by Daylight, which is totally false because these two games are not the same. Dead by Daylight is more tactical, about managing resources, team orientation, taking turns being chased, and just follows a grimier atmosphere. Forsaken on the other hand feels faster, has a lot of moments of brawls, and is way more energetic in contrast to Dead by Daylight's tone. If in Dead by Daylight survivors needed to escape the places they were trapped in Forsaken they just need to survive until the timer runs out. If in Dead by Daylight killers needed to kill survivors by piercing them through the hook, and Forsaken they can kill them without that need. It's a long list of changes that brings you a totally different experience, and comparing them both is going to take way more time than needed, so instead we should focus on something more important. From the experience that I've gotten from my lifetime on Roblox, I've realized that it's one of the only survival horror games that I think is genuinely good. You see, survival horror games have been dry for a long time now. They're a vastly derivative of really popular games both on Roblox and outside the platform, never being fully fleshed out into a proper identity. Unpolished, repetitive, run-of-the-mill, cheap, not being able to introduce enough characteristics to make it stand out other than a different coding, and just flat-out boring. Searching for exceptions is a tedious task for every player here. The only three I can think of is Fluid Facility, Pirate Chase 2, and Minus Descendant/Elevation. The issue with them is that one is kind of dated, the second suffers from not having enough players to reach actual popularity, and the third is both. However, Forsaken with its precise gameplay dynamic atmosphere managed to deliver an effort that not only pays homage to Robux's history by doing a great illustration of its concept, but also gets successful off of it. It's a miracle to see games made with actual passion get the recognition they deserve. People have been wanting gems like this to be noticed by the entire platform, and we just witnessed it happening now. If we can push this direction further with new ideas, there's going to be a possibility to improve the selection of games on the platform and make it into a better, sustainable place. I'm really hoping we can make this dream come to reality. Our future is in our hands, and we want the platform to escape the purgatory it has formed. Wait, you don't like Forsaken for ruining Roblox's history? Hang on for a second and let me look into this. Searching on Google Forsaken Wiki, clicking on the link, gameplay, killers, Cool Kid. Alright, let's see. Cool Kid is a 10-year-old adoptive son of 007 and 7, also a survivor in Forsaken. After receiving the cool GUI from his father, a life-changing mistake, he unleashed chaos throughout Roblox, especially work at a pizza place, and then disappeared. Both were forsaken by the Spectre, who now manipulates Cool Kid into believing he's playing tag. Oh no, I know where this is gonna go. I think you already know the concept of kids liking internet horror. Internet horror is a genre that has been dumbed down after its gain of popularity from children being able to see it with the limited access to social media. Things like creepypastas, mascot horror, or whatever is popular right now sticks with them a lot because they mostly assemble or write innocent characters, make them evil, and accompany them with a haunting backstory or game. It's a phenomenon that should scare them away from liking their regular interests, but instead it does the opposite. It makes them think it's cool and edgy. I myself used to be this type of kid. I consumed from FNAF to .exe videos, trying to hide it away from my family despite failing miserably. Eventually I grew out of it when it made me bored, but it still hasn't lost its following from the current generation to this day with the infamy of games like Piggy and Dandy's World. And that's the main reason why Forsaken is popular. The fun gameplay plays its part in this as well, but its dark appearance made the Roblox auditory invested. Forsaken took many infamous people and characters that are related to Roblox, mixes them with original characters, places them all in some forbidden world, and hides deep lore from the consumers. If you're a person that's around my age or older, you probably won't bother to look at it and dismiss it as something cheesy. And honestly, I kind of agree. The idea of a spiritual entity that created a dimension to feed upon people from many games like it in Roblox that suffer from trauma by tormenting them for this game that is Forsaken is quite convoluted. Reading through each one of the characters' stories and trying to puzzle down everything makes you feel like the whole war is randomly thrown together. As you saw earlier with Cool Kid and 007 and 7, it took an actual art exploiter who used the Cool Kid account as his alter ego and put together a fictional story about him being a father that lost his child because of some made up item that we don't even have info for. It doesn't stop there, as other characters that you can play as in the game follow the same narrative. Here's another example with 1x1x1x1, an account that Shadowetsky made originally as a part of lore for an item that was made almost 2 decades ago. It was originally seen as an evil 4-dimensional part, but people decided to spread a rumor that he's a hacker that's going to hack the entire Roblox after some random exploiter pretended to be him and said stuff like 1x1x1x1 is coming for you. Forsaken saw this whole story and thought, what if 1x1x1x1 was actually a manifestation of Shadowetsky that was born out of anger for him? And also it's thrown into Zucker because why not? I can go longer about Forsaken's obsession with making fiction about known players of Roblox, but I want to focus more on its original side. The side of original material that isn't associated with already existing media and is here to make Forsaken's lore come full circle to make everything make sense. And you probably know what I'm going to talk about right now because it's none other than the spawn code. Oh boy. I don't think an explanation is needed for this. People have heard this stupid thing so much that it has driven everyone crazy. The whole concept that's about how worshipping some god that'll grant second life upon respawning is bad inside of a kid's game is so unbelievably flawed that it's insane how it was greenlit for Forsaken. Ever heard about the incident in 2014 that was about how 2 teenage girls were so obsessed with Slenderman that they decided to lure their friend into the forest and her 19 times just to appease Slenderman? Now we're going for the same level of lunacy again because some degenerate decided to create a spawnism Discord server as a disguise for learning and grooming children. How many times do we need to remind ourselves about genuine horrors that can happen when making stuff for everyone that can be misunderstood by kids. We're risking actual people's mentalities by showcasing villainous creations they're able to idolize. As much as I can criticize Forsaken's lore for being too overdramatic and following basic tropes that have been done already, it feels surreal how a group of young people with no little knowledge in horror are the reason why kids create NSFW underage characters and follow code. We're not fully developed to digest this type of media. You think a movie like The Shining is rated R because we don't want children to consume masterpieces? No, we just want you to have a normal childhood. I don't think the creators of Forsaken made the game with the intention to make people do this. I know for a fact that there are only talented people who desire to push out a game made with care. It's not their fault that the game managed to garner such a bad community. I mean, the real trustworthy people, like, come on guys, we can't just put the blame on them. Wait, what you said about the old owner? There's an entire video covering all of his horrible actions?
For instance, Soldier of Love monetarily supports who 1. Attempted to murder someone in a racially motivated thing, and 2. Owned and spread CSEM to people. Soldier of Love has also been dishonest about firing on his developer team. Sol himself has also spread revenge on a minor, making it CSEM. Soldier of Love has also
But people, this might just be the only bad person that was in the dev team. Plus he's gone now, so there shouldn't be any more bad people, right? Right? There are still members of the staff team that haven't met on Roblox, and also follow people who make NSFW. You know, maybe we should just leave Forsaken. Maybe even leave the horror aspect of Roblox games because they make kids insane. Matter of fact, let's leave popular games. Bad people really notable in popular games, so to avoid them we should join a small and isolated place that's 100% devoid of them. There you go. Blades of Fate Remastered is an unofficial remake of an old Roblox game that was made by the builder. The point of that game is simple. You have to survive on a plate while avoiding random events in the game from killing you until you're the last person alive. It blended the elements of RNG, skill, and strategy that was pretty original at the time of its release, with the way it was hard to overcome yet brought entertainment with it. Nowadays, it's seen as the outset of the play games that at some point you probably come across while shuffling for Roblox. Although there was another one made by Dylan the year prior, but no one cares about it. Let's focus instead on the remake itself right now. The remake is pretty much the definitive way to play the game. It improved the gameplay by polishing, adding a wider amount of events, round types, gear, alongside getting the lobby a dedicated minigames area to spend time in while waiting for the next round. Not only that, but it also introduced new mechanics to the game like cosmetics, emotes, and quests, all which play a respective role for the players. But the most important aspect that some people even found out about the game through it is without a doubt its large list of badges. All of the badges inside the game can be categorized in multiple groups and are unique in their own way. Some require you to have a decent amount of skill, some require you to have a lot of time and patience, some are just an incredibly low chance of happening, and a couple are neat secrets. Needless to say, it's not going to be an easy task in getting all of them, because you're going to spend approximately multiple years finishing it to the fullest. Have fun with that. I used to play this game a lot a few years ago, ever since I discovered it in 2021, and ended up getting cool and rare achievements that are difficult to get for all my playtime. Blades of Fate Remastered has been one of my favorite games on Roblox, and no other game in this genre could replicate its spirit. The thrill of trying to survive constantly evolving scenarios that you never know how would turn out is always exciting for me, and stacking up the game's other cool features with this formula is ideal. There's always something to do inside of the game, whether playing it regularly, modifying the round by buying various things, trying to complete a quest, or even chilling in the lobby, you name it. This sort of magic is one of a kind and remarkable to me. It took a good game that was already on the platform and made it better, which makes me happy. The amount of joy this game has given to me is unbelievable. I've spent more than 1,000 hours inside of it, and the drive to play it more hasn't stopped. It truly is a gem, and I can't fathom how much it shaped my taste in gaming. Everything about it is perfect for me, except for one thing. Once you stop paying attention to the fun atmosphere and look closer into the game, you start to notice something a little strange. And once you find out about it, it'll begin a domino effect that'll lead you to an uglier side of the game. This thing has made me skeptical for a very long time now. It's been bothering me every time I play the game or just think about it. And what I'm referring to is, it's the community again. God damn it. Spilled Noodles is the hub for Points of Fate Remastered and its Discord server, owned by Zephyr and co-owned by Super Mushroom 8. This segment is going to be focused on the Discord server, so get ready to hear bad stuff again. As many as their Discord servers for Roblox games, it features a community that went through a lot of events that are tied to constant drama. And 5 years after its creation, it gained a reputation of housing degenerate people throughout its life, some of which are still present there to this day. Now, I don't want to get too deep inside of the Spilled Noodles history. It's a huge rabbit hole that can go for an entire video. But one thing that you need to know is that one of the moderators was caught in an FBI sting operation with the intent of driving to an underage girl. That's how insane Spilled Noodles can get. This little info says enough for you to understand that it shares the same flaws you'd see in bigger communities. It's not a community for a horror game of a strange fiction, it's for a normal game that most other people want to see in Roblox. I joined the server back when I was underage and went through an overload of things that were way too early for me to see. The off-the-wall attitude coming from the same people that play one of my favorite games didn't make me feel worried when discussing various topics and made me want to mimic them. It made me distance myself from the discomfort I was facing in real life, but ultimately fell into a hole that was way more deeper than I realized. This community made me face an unstable environment that I perceived as an ordinary place to talk in. I've met a lot of people inside of Spilled Noodles who I used to see completely fine until it became apparent to me that they weren't normal. Most of the friends that I made ended up being morons, really weird, and just unlikable without me realizing. Every time I tried to give Spilled Noodles another shot, I got myself into places that I wish I could have avoided. This was poison for me, as I kept eating it and said a lot of things that I don't agree with to this day until I got tired of everything and completely left Points of Fate on the server. But the rest of the community kept going and stayed active inside of it, which made me confused. For years, people have been clowning on Zephyr for the lack of moderation in the community, giving power to people who did actual crimes, trying to hide his Spilled Noodles past while continuously defending himself. But people know the truth. He has an image of a local gets streaming like, oh dear god, constantly harassed by the game's fanbase to the point where he threatens to nuke the server. It feels great when the community can pressure him into a ridiculed state. He deserves every kind of criticism because of his unacceptable actions that he can't just get away with. And you know, Spilled Noodles is a much smaller community. You think it can be easier for them to get rid of the server, abandon the game to financially hurt Zephyr, and even message YouTubers to cover everything that happened there. An opportunity that could have been used until it was thrown out. At one point, many people have tried to do something about Spilled Noodles, spread the information, thought about contacting Ruben Sim, or even went as far to make exposure videos themselves. But despite all of the attempts, everything has come to no avail whatsoever. The game is up and running, the community is active as ever, and it feels odd. People who have been in the Points of Fate sphere for many years are still inside and nonchalant about it, using the same excuses like, I'm just there for a couple cool people, or not there aren't as much bad people as there used to be. So about the Spilled Noodles exposure video. Its plan was to compile major incidents surrounding the lunatic mindsets that were in the community and brought members to make them tell their excruciating experiences. Oh, the thing is, it kinda doesn't make sense anymore because the person behind the video decided to come back to the Spilled Noodles Discord server. Strange because he spent 40 minutes talking to multiple people that were in the community to paint a picture how messed up is Spilled Noodles. What happened to the entire community's desire of being morally correct, getting Zephyr to take accountability, leave both the game and the server once and for all? Shouldn't they not be here anymore? Well, after pondering this very brain-splitting question, I came to the conclusion that it's all connected to the game itself. Points of Fate Remastered has been a special game for everyone in the community, made for true connoisseurs of survival games and easily knocking out its competitors and copycats. Letting it fade away into obscurity for the sake of it being made by a bad person and keeping bad people isn't going to convince the entire player base. They all share the same love for the game and other niche stuff, trying to find people who also have their tastes as impossible others than in their community. They've been there for so many years, seen so many exposed people, been part of so many dramas that it all became a common occurrence for them. New incidents are just like the old ones. Active people appear from time to time, talk with each other for months to even years and build a bond, do something morally wrong or get caught out for it, ensue drama, then either keep being active and do more bad things or get banned and move on to a different place. It's a cycle that Spilled Noodles has fallen into ever since it has been created, but surprisingly it doesn't make the majority leave. I've been mad at Spilled Noodles for a very long time, trying to get friends that I made to not experience the same things I went through, but instead they didn't really listen to me, which made me upset because they could have been at a risk of turning into the same bad people that came before them. Then it hit me. People go on their own road and you can't control them. They make their own choices. You can tell them anything about the place they reside in and they will still stick to their preferences, even if there's going to be a chance that it'll make them shoot their food. You can't predict how they will end up in the future, whether being normal or becoming the next predator. It's always a different scenario for everyone and they won't get the same experience you had. It's difficult to tell they worry about safety. Maybe they are fine being around people who have done a lot of bad stuff. Maybe they do care about everyone has their own point of view and are all resulted in a jumbled mess. Nobody really knows what's going on in their lives behind the scenes. At this point I've lost track of everything and I'm scrambling back and forth. But one thing I do know is that they're all here because of Plates of Fate, and once Plates of Fate will disappear, they will go to a different game. You never know if joining a community will be for the better or will make you dig yourself a grave. It's an infinite void of possibilities, but don't get yourself to lose your sanity, otherwise you'll end up behind bars. And that's the mentality you're going to see everywhere. Spoon Noodles is just an example of that. Every time you enter a new game, you encounter it again and you'll have to deal with it in the future, going and going until the end of time. Even when you create a game to await it, at some point it'll come to you in your community, making the cycle go further and not stopping at all. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow, but as you grow older, you might become just like the same group of people you hated, which will make everything lose its point. I haven't been satisfied for way too long. Roblox gaming used to be exciting, having a much more vibrant landscape and not making you want to worry over corporate greed. That got changed as the platform began to lose its color and gain developers that make games that use exploitative methods to collect money, making the older player base feel like they're in a limbo. So when you finally find a modern game that isn't made with the intention of sucking your wallet and instead wants you to have a fun time and brings you a lot of hope, Forsaken, Plates of Fate, and many other underrated titles I've been a fan of have filled the void with some of the most fun sessions I had on Roblox. They help the platform keep getting fresh ideas, inspiring many upcoming creators to take the role in the future and create more games with the same excitement. But there's another thing that we have to deal with, the new coalition that has formed after the rising wave of exposed people. Now that more kids and teens have access to social media, it feels like it has become easier to get yourself into trouble and become the next snob to shame for the weak. We get to see parts of the Robux's aspect, publicizing videos and situations, informing everyone about behavior of many types of people and critiquing them for it. Because of that, liking certain games now turns you into a target and look like a bank kid with intuitions for wrongdoings, a supporter for people or groups that have done hellish things, maybe even a future criminal. However, after the countless amounts of these exposals, they buried a simple statement that all of us have been missing in this timeline. Bad people are impossible to avoid. They have been in the world forever, coming from places normal people reside in and still remaining despite contriving evil. You might be even friends with one without realization, making yourself look like a hypocrite for trying to prove your point. And the worst thing about this is that we kill actually good games with potential and let SOP keep thriving by spreading this. I found myself not liking my favorite games on the platform because of associating them with communities, and made me migrate from one game to another just to draw multiple circles. The only thing changing was my mental health, as every time I joined a new one, a tiny part of it was deteriorating in the process, and that's not good. Dramas have made us though 180 on beloved games. It's as if people don't want you to play anything other than what they're playing nowadays. Definitely not like these games share their own batch of past controversies and they don't know anything about underrated Roblox games. This doesn't mean we have to embrace the predators and follow their footsteps, as that'll make everything worse and will get the platform into a downfall to its demise. Something that can actually happen. The best thing you can do right now is try to stay out of the most degraded parts of Roblox and find someone that's normal. Other options aren't available, so it leaves us to keep searching. We're on the same boat, sitting in the Roblox seat to find an aisle to spend time in. It's endless and full of wonders you'll eventually come across. We'll overcome the journey, get to the finish line of this despair and be happy, not having to worry over bad things and creating fun memories. But honestly, maybe I'm just another dude trying to find peace of mind. At the end of the day, our main point to be on Roblox is just to play games. Thank you all so much for watching the whole video. This made me go through multiple stages and a rocky road while trying to puzzle everything down. Having a video that finally got me an auditory viewers motivates me to reach my ambitions and share my thoughts with everyone. Shout out to every single subscriber for seeing me as a figure to relate and liking me for it. Really unexpected and cool of y'all. I can't wait to follow up this video with more content in the future. It brings me joy that me and my fans can both like my stuff. But until then, I'm BegaLiker. Support me by subscribing to my channel, liking the video, leaving a comment down below, sharing it with your friends, and maybe even joining my Roblox group. As always, thank you for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time.